Thinking about starting a podcast today? Look no further than Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has all the tools to allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your fingertips or a computer. While hosting on Anchor, you can also distribute your podcast on multiple listening platforms that include Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, and many, many more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is free. Make sure you download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started now. See you soon. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is CJ Bowens, and welcome back to another episode of Black by Popular Demand. So today I want to talk about relationships, of course. That's one of the main things I always do. But I want to tackle something that's been an interesting topic as of lately. I've seen a lot of different takes on it. Some good, some bad, some very ugly, some misogynistic, some with some misogynoir to it, which is basically the male version of a misogynist. But as you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about what you bring to the table and the unspoken exchange between two people in a relationship. Now, I seen a video today where it was a guy asking, it was a group of friends, and it was a guy asking a woman, what do you bring to the table? I do this, I do that. I provide the house, I pay the mortgage, and I handle everything around the house because I'm an electrician. I'm good with my hands. And the woman replied, I take care of the thing, this, that, and the third. And it was just a lot of mess. And I think one of the bigger problems with the way he asked the question is, for those of you guys that don't know, this is a trap question. Like, when someone asks you what you bring to the table, the table, it's a trap question. What you're expecting for, and I try not to ask questions like these in reference toward relationships because it's a stacked deck. You're anticipating an answer, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to get the answer that you're looking for, but you're anticipating a negative answer, right? So basically, she fell into the trap. She started naming off things that he could, in theory, pay for. She was like, well, I can go get the paper towels. You don't have to worry about that. I can cook, this, that, and the third. She started naming things that he can do himself, and that's not the goal. Same thing for a woman. If you start naming stuff that she can do herself, like, let's just be upfront and honest. I can have sex with myself. I can masturbate. Women can masturbate. She can pay her own bills. She can do this. Like, monetary wise, that's what his point was, like I said, but he asked it in a way that would make it more of a trick question, a trap question. What do you bring to the table? And there's a lot of pushback. And here's one thing before we continue that I really, really want us to stop as a generation. When people ask these questions, even though they do come off malicious, please stop telling folks, oh, if you just like men, or you want a mom, you want this, because what he asked wasn't really misogynistic. It had a little kick to it. It had a little maliciousness to it, but it wasn't misogynistic. Because he asked the upfront question, what do you provide in a relationship? Unless someone said something openly that makes it sound like they hate women, as in, for example, some dude on TikTok, I can't think of what his name is, light-skinned guy. He's like, you're not a queen, you're not my mother, you hate women, bro. Situations like that, cool. They do hate women. But this question is a open-ended question where you can decide, you can tell your mate, you know what I'm saying, what you bring to the table. For me, I'm not dating you unless I confirm what you bring to the table. And when I say what you bring to the table, I don't mean anything monetary. I don't mean cleaning wise, because again, I'm raised by my mother and father. There's not anything I can't do by myself except one thing. The one thing that men and women cannot do by themselves is create a family. I can't create life by myself. So what do you get for the man who has everything or the woman who has everything? These are the three things you can give them. This is the correct answer to that. You can give them peace. Yeah, you have peace on your own, but peace as a, individual and peace as a group is a whole nother ball game. It's a whole different chapter. You feel what I'm saying? Like, self-love is important and having peace within yourself is very important. But if I can come home from a long day of work and I come home to basically like someone that I've lived with forever that's become my soulmate, my best friend, and I can just vent to him without feeling judged, and I can just let loose, that's better than anything in the world that I could do on my own, because, and it's a lot easier to confide in others. People can say it's easy to keep things to yourself, and that sounds nice for social media, but does it, like, think about it. Everybody needs to have an outlet. Not necessarily someone to take all the burdens off your shoulders, but sometimes you just need a listening ear. It's human nature. So to answer that question, you need peace, stability, and I don't mean financial stability. That's important too, but that's not a requirement for me, because I'm one of the people in the world that I don't mind grinding and working 40 hours to make sure my rent's paid and everything like that. It's nice if I get help in that area, but I don't need that. That's not a necessity. Because if times get hard, I'll pick up a second job. That's how I'm built. The third thing would just be companionship. The word companionship is becoming more and more diluted as time goes by. There are different forms of companionship, yes, but I feel like we're starting to become more and more comfortable with temporary companionship, and then when it's gone, it does more damage than good, because your body, I ain't gonna say your body, but you've gotten used to having somebody there. If you want to know what I'm alluding to sneaky links, etc. Now, don't get me wrong, most of us in my age bracket, we're like 18 to 21, 22. So I'm not saying settle down or anything like that. But what I am saying is we don't need to be sneaky linking at the age of 40 to 45. Like, once you're knocking on the door of AARP benefits, it's time to sit it on down, big dog. That's just the real. And I have a feeling like this is going to be a thing for a long time, because people are, as I've talked about in past episodes, they're scared of commitment. Not necessarily you won't commit, but it's all about this, I'm going to get them before they get me. And you don't need to have that mentality, because you're going to end up being 50, lonely with cats. You're not going to even have your individual peace. You're just going to be a bitter old man or woman with a bunch of cats or dogs. And you're just going to be bitter. So in terms of exchange, silent exchange, things that your partner should provide to you, again, if I can't coexist with you without getting a headache talking to you, without arguing with you every day, we're not going to work. That's my personal preference. You could be the brokest person in the world. Don't take that for granted, because you can't stay broke. But you could be the brokest person in the world, but if you're trying to work and you have a peaceful aura about you, it'll work. Now, make no mistake, I don't mind debating. I don't like to argue. There's a difference in that. I like to debate because it's us intellectually sparring with no disrespect. It could be about anything. It could be about COVID-19 vaccines. It could be about abortions. I don't really debate about abortion, but I'm giving examples. You know, it could be about all of that. That's intellectual sparring, debates. I don't want to argue with you as in, oh, well, you didn't do this. And like, I don't want to hear that. Also, what ties into this is, and I'm not going to be shallow about it, but I am going to be upfront. Sometimes people don't have the mental capacity that you have. That sounds like a special phrase, but I can, dumb it down. They're not as intelligent as you are. They're not, and that isn't just book smart wise, but it's emotionally intelligent. I can't talk about COVID-19 and the effects of it with everybody. I can't talk about crimes against black people with everybody. Everybody can't relate emotionally. Everybody does not care. As bad as that sounds, that's just the way it is. Everybody does not care. So you can't date, for example, me, I can't date someone who isn't at least up to par with certain things emotionally, or they're not as emotionally invested in certain issues that I'm invested in. Everybody doesn't care about that. And it takes a long time to kind of realize that, because you'll be talking about something with somebody and they're just disinterested. Like, they'll be like, oh, okay. And yeah, okay. Same thing for this podcast. Everybody doesn't watch every episode. Some people only tune in for the relationship portions. Some people only tune in for my sports takes. Some people only tune in for my takes on politics. Some people only tune in for my takes on religion. We're not emotionally invested in everything. I don't care anything about classical music and what's going on in classical music. I will be upfront and honest. So if someone was to come up here and talk to me about the latest classical music artists, I wouldn't have anything for them. I don't listen to gospel music. So I couldn't talk to you about Kiki Wyatt. I think she's a gospel singer. Don't just destroy me in the comments if she's not. But I couldn't talk to you about gospel music. I could talk to you about pop culture. Everybody doesn't care about what's going on with celebrities. Everybody doesn't care about what's going on with Nicki Minaj or R. Kelly or anybody else. Everybody does not care. I could talk to you about mandates in school, but everybody doesn't care about having to take a shot to go to college. So you have to understand that within a relationship, everybody doesn't care about, I don't care about money. Some women and men do care about money. You need to have a certain amount of money. And you need to be, and it's not, I think it's more or less not about the money, but it's more about the financial stability. They don't want to have to raise a child financially. I personally don't care about that. I've been around two providers my whole life. So I don't care about providing for my significant other until they get on their feet. I don't care. But that's not everybody. Everybody does not really care to be touched, and they don't really care about clinginess, right? Everybody isn't big on emotional security. Some people don't care. And as strange as it sounds, this is the truth. Some people genuinely do not care if y'all don't touch outside of having sex. Some people don't care about affirmations. I like affirmation. I like for you to reassure me. I'm not a insecure person, but if I'm getting beat up by the day, I wouldn't mind someone telling me, hey, you got this. You never know what extra boost that gives people. Everybody doesn't care about that though. Some people like to be spoiled. It all ties into that. Some people love to be spoiled. Some people like to be fed. I can cook, so I personally like to cook for people. There's all types of things, but these are things you don't need to be figuring this out 9-10 months within a relationship. You don't need to figure out what their likes and dislikes are. On the flip side of that, if you have made it clear what you like and what you don't like, or they have made it clear what they like and what they do not like, and it does not, you don't see a way it can work, don't keep trying to force it. It is what it is. Like I said, one thing I'm big about is my peace and my stability. And I don't, like I said, I mean mental stability. I got enough going on, so I don't need to come home and argue with the woman that I care about. I don't need that. In terms of peace, I do like to come home and not be lectured on certain things. Like, when I come home and it's a rough day from work, which now I work from home, so it's a different scenario. But like when I get off work and I'm home, I'm one of those people, give me like 10 to 15 minutes. Let me do what I need to do. Whether that's, go take a piss. Let me jump on the game for about 15 minutes. Let me get on my phone and check social media for about 15 minutes. Just give me my 15 minutes of free time before you start throwing, issues around the house or issues in general at me. Do that for me. Then I'll make sure anything that you ask for is taken care of. But I need my 15 minutes. You feel what I'm saying? So those are the silent exchanges that needs to be acknowledged. Those are some things that you can provide, because a relationship is only going to work if both people are involved. 9 times out of 10, all of the relationships that you see fail, only one person was trying. Only one. There has to be effort. That's an exchange. We both give effort. That's a silent exchange. I shouldn't have to tell you to give me effort. Shouldn't nobody have to tell you have to try? Because if you weren't willing to try, why the fuck did you bother me? Why? For what? If you didn't have any intention on trying to make it work and trying to compromise, why did you bother me? Because you knew that was going to be a thing. And if you didn't want a relationship, why didn't you say that from the jump? See, I think another issue I have with this generation, and when it comes to dating, you'll set boundaries, right? You'll be like, and I know this is common for women, they'll be like, well, we're not having sex unless we're dating or we're married. So to cheat the test, to bypass what they're talking about, they'll get with the girl, they'll do everything she wants to hear, and then once they get with her, they stop doing it because now they're getting the coochie. They're getting the box, so it doesn't really matter. So you bypassed the boundaries that were set just for some sex. That's wrong. It's evil. Because now this person it dawns on them that all you really wanted was sex, even though I told you, that's not what I was looking for. Same thing for dudes. A dude will tell you, hey, I'm not going to buy you this unless we're dating. I'm not spending money on you. So you'll date the dude, not satisfy him in any way, because now you'll stop satisfying him rather, because now he's giving you everything that you want. So then y'all break up, and now he's not so hurt about the money, but he's hurt that you really used him for money because he set his boundaries. There needs to be another silent exchange is to accept any boundary given to you. If not, you have to go. And this has been going on since I was in high school. People will try to sidestep, jump over, and just overall cheat boundaries set. Somebody will give you a clear and direct boundary, and you'll try to cut corners just to get what you want. That's selfish. It's very selfish. And when I think about it, because I'm thinking about certain relationships I've been in where I set certain boundaries that I used to have to I'd set my bar for boundaries, but I'd be like, well, she didn't really like this, so I can compromise. There's a lot of things you can compromise, but we have to stop compromising our boundaries. And that, I think that's been a downfall of a lot of the relationships I've been in, where I would set some ground rules and then they would violate those rules that I have. And when I say rules, I don't mean as in like I'm your dad type shit, but I mean in the sense of I don't want you, let's say such and such used to talk to this person. Obviously, I don't want you talking to them anymore. Y'all aren't dating anymore. Y'all shouldn't really have too much to say to each other unless there's a child involved. And don't make no mistake, I don't go through phones, but I'll find out that they've been talking to him anyway. So at that point, you violated one of the boundaries I had set. I don't set many boundaries as it is. You know what I mean? So you violated that. Now you put me in a position where, okay, well, I do like her and she only violated this boundary one time. Let me tell her one more time. That's how I used to think. Now I kind of feel like if I'm very direct and clear with the boundary and that I tell you there are no exceptions, there's no this and there's no that, and you violate it anyway, if I'm very clear with what I'm telling you, you gotta go. Because if you do it once, you'll definitely do it again. I ain't never heard of somebody, and correct me if I'm wrong, that cheated once and never cheated again. Never heard of it. You don't just cheat once. You don't. What happens is either they cheat again or the girlfriend or the boyfriend lives with it and pretends it doesn't happen. Real facts. Now, anybody that's been cheated on this, listen to this. Please, please, please. If you stay with that person, I'm begging you to tell me, after they cheated that one time, did they or did they not get caught up in another compromising position again? Where it may not have been cheating as in he stuck his dick in somebody else, but it was on the borderline of you violated my trust. Once you do it once, I have no reason to believe you won't do it again when it comes to cheating. Because you understood how much that hurt your significant other. So you can say, oh, I won't cheat again, but the opportunity is going to present itself again eventually. The opportunity to cheat is going to be all around you forever, no matter where you work, no matter how you do it. It's people that work from home that still cheat on their significant others. Trust and believe. Once they do it once and they get caught, it's like, oh, you're not really sorry that you hurt them, because if you really cared about their feelings, you wouldn't have done it in the first place. You're more or less sorry that you got caught. So what happens from that point is all you're trying to do is not get caught again. So when it comes to that cheating and violating boundaries, I feel like it's a slippery slope, and you can never, I don't feel like when it comes to cheating, it's really a bounce back from that. When you cheat on me, for example, I look at it like, bro, I've only focused on you and this is how you repay me. It makes me feel like I wasted my time. Now, I've given a few people a couple chances after getting cheated on. That's my fault. But nowadays, if we date and you cheat, you gone. I don't even want to talk to you about it. It's a wrap. So, just to wrap everything up, what you can do for the man and woman that have everything, when they ask you, what do you bring to the table? What you bring is stability. What you bring is peace. What you can bring is a family, companionship. Because it doesn't matter what I have out here. I can't pay for a family and it be legit. I can't pay for that. I can quote unquote pay for my peace, but it's temporary peace. It's temporary stability. You can only pay for so much of that. Everything doesn't have a monetary value. Time does not have a monetary value, unfortunately, unless you're punching the clock. Time is one of the most invaluable resources in the world. You cannot put a price tag on it. Truly, I can make $14 an hour, but I won't ever get these 8 hours that I gave to that company again. So these are things that cannot be bought. That's what the woman's answer should have been. You should have named something that cannot be bought, cannot be sold, can only be given through a genuine soul. If your mind automatically goes to something monetary, when someone asks when you bring something, what you bring to the table, you aren't providing enough. And that goes for dudes too. What can you provide in a mental and spiritual aspect that'll elevate someone? I want to thank y'all for listening today, and stay tuned. We will have another episode sometime this week. I do appreciate you guys for listening. Peace.
Buddha bless this